Hello everyone, I'm Lin Zhang from Wuhan University. The classification of science into appropriate disciplines is one of the essential preconditions of valid scientometric analysis, and is also of great significance in the practice of research assessment. However, it's difficult to evaluate the accuracy of different classifications with a gold standard. In our research, we investigated the systematical differences of 3 paper-level classification systems based on different methods. The detailed information of our research will be introduced by my doctoral student, Beibei Sun, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Beibei Sun, a doctoral student from Wuhan University. It's my great honor here to give this presentation. The topic of our presentation is the comparison of paper-level classifications across different methods and systems, taking Nature publications as an example. And this is a research in progress. My presentation includes 4 parts. Firstly, the introduction. As we know, the disciplinary classification of science plays an important role in bibliometric research. For example, it can help us describe the historical development of scientific research. The representative one may be the network of 150 years of Nature papers. It is also of great significance on research evaluation, like the field normalization of citation counts, and it can also help us understanding and mapping emerging inter- and transdisciplinary fields. In the last decade, the journal-based classification is the most common used one, and it is adopted by the major databases like Web of Science and Scopus. However, there are also some obvious limitations. For example, the research areas of papers are not always coherent enough with the journal's class categories, so the article-level classifications are emerging. Generally, there are 3 main methods used in the article-level assignment. The first is citation-based approach. Web of Science and Scopus also integrate these methods in their analytical platforms like ISSI and Civil. The second is text-based approach, which is mainly adopted by Dimensions and Microsoft Academic. The last is the author-selected based approach. It is mainly used by Chinese journals, and the results are indexed in Chinese local databases like CNKI. In previous studies, most researchers focused on the algorithm improvements of article-level classifications. Relatively little effort goes into the assessment of results. So, in this study, we try to investigate the following research questions. Firstly, are the sets of publications classified by different approaches consistent with each other, and to what extent? Secondly, how to interpret the inconsistency of results from the perspective of classification methodologies. Now we introduce the data and methods in this research. In this research, we selected all articles and letters published in Nature from 2010 to 2019 as our data sample, including more than 8,000 publications. We try to compare the paper-level classifications of the same data sample across 3 different platforms, respectively ISSI, Dimensions, and Nature. The 3 platforms adopt different methodologies for paper classification. As we know, the categories of publications in Web of Science are based on the journal-level classification method. But in ISSI, it also provides an article-level reclassification for articles indexed in the category of multidisciplinary sciences, based on the disciplinary affiliation of its cited papers. It can be seen as a representative of citation-based approach. In dimensions, all papers are classified into different FOR fields based on the machine learning techniques guided by topic experts, and it is a representative of text-based approach. Springer Nature constructed a standardized structure for the subject tagging of its own publications. Based on the author-selected subject tags, all articles can be affiliated to at least one proper field. So it is used in this study as a representative of author-selected based approach. The descriptive results are as follows. We note that in insights, one publication is only assigned to one single category. In both dimensions and nature, multi-assignments are allowed for individual publications. In particular, around 60% publications are assigned to only one FOR minor field in dimensions, and more than 20% publications are labeled with at least two major fields. While in Nature's classification system, only around 10% publications belong to one single subject. About 60% publications are classified into two or more major fields. Here we present one example to show the classification differences among three data sources. The paper presented here is labeled with 5 major fields in Nature classification system. It investigated the elastic energy storage from the perspective of evolution. From its abstract, we can find that knowledges from different fields are integrated in this research. However, in insights and dimensions, the same paper is only assigned to one minor field. So, a systematical comparison of the field distributions among the three sources should be further investigated. Since the three data sources adopt different classification systems, in order to enable a meaningful comparison, we used the OECD fields of science as a uniformed one, and respectively matched the three different classifications to OECD system. For Web of Science categories in insights and FOR fields in dimensions, correspondence tables can be obtained directly, and for the correspondence between nature subjects and OECD fields, a manual match was conducted based on the procedures presented in the right bottom part on the screen. Now we present our major results. After mapping each classification system to OECD fields, we can find that in dimensions, social sciences and agricultural sciences are with the highest rates of multi-assignment of individual papers, while in nature's classification, all publications in agricultural sciences and humanities are multi-assigned to other different fields, and the share of multi-assignments in the field of engineering and technology and social sciences are also higher than 98%. In consideration of the classification constructed by Springer Nature is based on the author-selected subject area tags, and the data sample used in this research is Nature publications. So in the following part, we further take Nature subjects as a benchmark and investigate the accuracy of the other two classification systems. Firstly is the comparison results between insights and nature. We divided all publications into three groups based on the comparison results: identical, partial identical and inconsistent. We show examples on the table to illustrate how we divided the three groups. According to the comparison results based on OECD subfields, 28% publications have the same minor field in both Insights and Nature, and 72% publications are assigned to more than one minor field in Nature system, of which 13% of them have completely different classification results across the two systems. For publications in Group 2 and 3, we extended a similar comparison based on the OECD major fields. And finally, more than 300 publications have completely different fields even when adopting the major fields. We further showed two representative examples in the partial identical and inconsistent groups between Insights and Nature. The first paper is assigned to 6 subjects based on the Nature system. However, Insights only classified the same paper to one category, biochemistry and molecular biology, based on the ranking of the number of cited references. But actually, the proportion of this category is only 18% to the whole. As for the second paper, neurosciences is selected as its category in Insights. However, it's quite inconsistent with the subjects classified in Nature. We then proceed with a comparison between dimensions and nature. Since dimensions and nature both allow multi-assignments, we can further divide the partial identical group into 3 subgroups. The example on the table illustrates how we divided the 3 subgroups. For the comparison results between dimensions and nature, only 16% publications have the identical subfields, and in Group 2, the 76% of publications include 3 proportions corresponding to related subgroups. Similarly, for publications in Group 2 and 3, we also extended the comparison based on the OECD major fields, and the results are presented in the screen. Again, we show a few representative examples in the partial identical and inconsistent groups between dimensions and nature. In the first paper, the author investigated the existence of social preferences. The field of social sciences is obviously missing in the classification of dimensions. For the second study, after reading its abstract, we found psychology is an apparently misleading field in dimensions. And for paper 3, since there are power law and other related terms in the abstract, it is incorrectly assigned to law and legal studies in dimensions. As a research in progress, we get some preliminary conclusions and discussions. Firstly, the unique classification system in Insights seems quite problematic, and one of the most important reasons may be that the categories of cited papers are still based on the journal-focused solutions. Then, for the text-based classification in dimensions, different techniques and methodologies employed in text documents classified have their own limitations. The improvement of algorithms is endless. Of course, there are also some limitations in this study. For example, the accuracy of the subjects provided by nature also needs to be further evaluated. And as a research in progress, a deeper insight and methodological analysis on the inconsistent results would be conducted in the future. That's all of my presentation. Thanks for your attention.